So when it comes to treating rotator cuff pain, or really any pain in general, one of the biggest misconceptions is thinking that the area that hurts is where the problem is coming from. Many times people with rotator cuff pain will have pain in the front of the shoulder, but that's typically not where the problem's actually occurring. That's just where the symptoms are felt. So I want to show you two concepts that you should be aware of. So this is called the joint by joint approach, and essentially what it's showing is how our body is meant to move, how each individual joint is meant to move. And you can see the joints in the yellow are stability joints, meaning they have less mobility or flexibility, and they're just stronger joints. And the ones in pink are more mobile joints, more flexibility, and because they're more mobile and more flexible, they're just not as strong. So you can see how the body is designed is every other joint is stable while every other joint is mobile. And many times what occurs with pain is if the body isn't working or moving the way that you see in this image, you can start to have pain. And a lot of times what occurs is you see in the pink with the spine, it's supposed to be a mobile set of joints along the upper back. And if they become stiff, somewhere has to compensate. That could be the shoulder blade, that could be the shoulder joint itself, and the shoulder can start to hurt, but that doesn't mean that that's where the cause of the pain's coming from. So I want to show you a real life example of how this works. This is an image showing a lady obviously raising her arm overhead, and I've kind of shown all of the movements that take place just to perform this single action. You can see along the spine I put extension. So in order to raise your arm overhead, your spine must extend, which means it has to bend back. Your shoulder blade, as you raise your arm overhead, the shoulder blade must rotate and abduct. Abduct just means it moves away from the spine. So the shoulder blade has to perform two movements while the spine extends, and then the shoulder joint itself performs flexion and external rotation. All of this occurs just for that one movement to raise your arm overhead. Now, I don't expect you to understand what all of these movements mean, but the point I want to make to you is that movement is complex. The area, while when you're moving it can seem fairly simple, there's multiple joints with no matter what movement you're performing, there's multiple joints that are having to participate in that movement. And if any one of these, let's say like I told you, the spine, if it's not extending, it can start causing shoulder pain. If the shoulder blade is not rotating and abducting, you can start having rotator cuff pain. The pain is just a symptom. It's not really telling you where the problem is.